Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023 at 6 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you all for that. So we have a roll call, please.
Counselor Newton. Counselor Kopczynski.
Here.
Counselor Montague.
Here.
Counselor Smith.
Here.
Counselor McGee.
Present.
Counselor Novak.
Here.
Mayor Johnson II.
Here. Next is a proclamation, a very special proclamation, Women's History Month, and I've asked the last man, a counselor, to read it for us this evening.
Okay, Women's History Month, March 2023. Whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways, and whereas women have played and continue to play crucial economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of the life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home, and whereas women have played a unique role throughout the history of the nation by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force in the nation, and whereas women were particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in our nation, and whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement, and where women have served our country courageously in the military, and whereas women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which create a more fair and just society for all. And whereas a historic 5 of the 6 Albany councilors are women, as are historic 5 of the 9 directors of city departments, and whereas despite these contributions, the role of women in history has been consistently overlooked and undervalued in the literature, teaching, and study of American history. Now therefore, I, Alexander D. Johnson II, Mayor of the City of Albany, do hereby claim March 23rd as Women's History Month in the City of Albany, in witness whereof I hereunto set my hand and cause the City of Albany seal to be affixed this 22nd day of February 2023. Alexander D. Johnson II, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Kopczynski, and Council, thank you very much for serving the City of Albany and our great state of Oregon. Thank you very much, ladies. Next on is a special presentation. I'd like to call on Citizens Life Saving Awards and Chiefs Awards, our Fire Chief, Shane Wooten.
All right, thank you, Mayor, Council, staff. So before I call up some of tonight's award recipients, I'd like to first set the stage for the life-saving award that we're going to be giving away shortly. So February is Heart Awareness Month. So let me start by reminding those listening at home the best way to increase the chance of survival in sudden cardiac arrest is early notification, early CPR, early defibrillation, and early advanced life support. One of the goals of the Albany Fire Department is to increase the chance of survival when someone does go into cardiac arrest. We have community partners assisting us in that goal. The Albany Safety Foundation is a nonprofit organization whose mission it is to teach our community CPR and provide AEDs in our community. They have assisted the city with purchasing AEDs for patrol cars, and they also fund the Albany Fire Department teaching every 8th grader in Albany HA School District CPR. Another item I'd like to mention is that over the next few months, our department is beginning an AED loaner program for our community to come and use if someone is having a large family event or a sporting event and they would like an AED available. This is a partnership, again, with the Albany Safety Foundation, as well as both Rotary clubs in Albany and the Albany Fire Department. So with that, a little bit of AED plug. If I could ask the members of the YMCA to please come up. Yes, yep. Thank you. All right, we'll have you line up right here. All right, I'm going to pass the mic down through them and they could introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Kathy Carley.
I'm Hannah Mitzel.
Sherry Stephen. Angie Duncan.
And I'm Billy Maurer.
Okay, so on December 29th, 2022, at our local YMCA, a 62-year-old male was found by staff not breathing and pulseless. The YMCA staff quickly jumped into action and began CPR immediately. An AED was available on scene, which the staff quickly attached to the patient. A shock was advised by the device and delivered. After the defibrillation, the patient regained a pulse, as well as respiratory effort and mental status. The patient shared that he had been playing pickleball and sat down to cool off when he felt a head rush. The next thing he recalled was being in the back of an ambulance. This was an excellent example of teamwork and effectiveness of early notification, early CPR, and early defibrillation. Thanks to your quick actions, collectively, the 5 of you saved somebody's life. So we are presenting each of you with the Albany Fire Department Civilian Life Saving Award signed by Mayor Alex Johnson II and a commemorative Albany Fire Department coin. So congratulations. One of some fancy AFD swag, or not swag, but cool. And if I may, thank you very much. On behalf of the Albany Fire Department. All right, so next we're going to give out some Chiefs Awards. So in the fire department, every year, I get the honor of selecting some people, whether they be inside our fire department or outside our fire department, who have helped us achieve our mission. And this year we have some awesome recipients that I'm super excited to give an award to. So if I may start by inviting Gabe Anderson up from Margin Coffee.
Thank you.
I'll go over a couple of prepared notes here. I've heard Margin Coffee described as Albany's living room. And side note, I'm going to go off script. I also think it might be Mayor Johnson's second office. For those of us that have ever met Mayor Johnson, he typically says, "Hey, how about we meet at Margin?" And we are grateful. You've extended your hospitality to our city and department. For the last 4 years, you've supported our annual toy drive, which supports hundreds of children in the DHS system. You also opened up your living room after hours for Chief Harnden and I to do Chat with the Chiefs. Thank you for all you do for the Albany Fire Department, but also for our entire community. Our community is better with you in it. Thank you. All right, Sharon and Bobby. Sharon and Anderson, Bobby Williams, please come up. I'm sure they both love being up here, right? All right. Helper, involved, awareness, called, servant, builder, caregiver. The words to describe a volunteer are endless, and any one of them could be used to describe either of you. Antiques in the Streets is just one community event that Bobby and Sharon are involved with. Antiques in the Streets bring tourists, shoppers, and community spirit to Albany. It also raises thousands of dollars for nonprofits. A lot of you may not know that a lot of the funding that comes from, or the fees that people pay from antiques in the streets, Bobby and Sharon take that money and provide it to nonprofits in town. This past summer, the Albany Firefighters Community Assistance Fund was the recipient of the 2022 fundraiser. The event raised over $8,000 for our nonprofit that supports victims of fire and some of our prevention programs at the department. Your generosity is so appreciated on any year, but especially coming out of COVID restrictions. All nonprofits were struggling to raise money during that time, and your offer to us couldn't have happened at a better time. So we are forever grateful to both of you for partnering with the Albany Fire Department. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. That was a great presentation. All three of them were fantastic, and it shows you the kind of community that we have, that people are willing to step out for each other and give to each other and support each other. So thank you very much, all of you, for the work you've done. Thank you. Now it gets boring. And they run out. Go figure. Next on our agenda is a quasi-judicial public hearing regarding planning file CP 04-22. I have to say it phonetic. Zebra Charlie 06-22, Papa Alpha 0922, and Sierra Papa 23-22. The proposal is a comprehensive plan map and zoning map amendment together with a partition and a residential development proposal specific to one 4.85 acre property inside the city limits. The plan includes one commercial parcel and one parcel intended for multifamily residential development of 42 apartments. I call to order the quasi-judicial public hearing at time 6:12 p.m. If you wish to testify, there are three options available, which were described in the agenda. Do any members wish to declare a conflict of interest? Seeing none, do any members wish to report an ex parte contact? Seeing none, do any members wish to report a site visit? Yeah, exactly. So I've been by that place probably about 50 times, and I did walk the site of the adjacent building, Mega Foods. So I have been there, but wasn't during this time. Do any members wish to abstain from participating in the proceedings? Does anyone wish to challenge the city councilor's right to determine this matter or participation of any council member in this hearing and decision? If so, please raise your hand. Let me take a look around. Okay. If you are attending in person, if you're attending virtually, please turn on your camera and raise your hand to be called upon. Or if you are attending by phone, please unmute yourself and state your name so you can be called upon. Nobody there? Nobody in here. Okay. At this time, I call for a reading of the meeting procedures by Community Development Director. It looks like it's going to be you today?
Yeah, I'll
David Martin.
Matthew.
Okay.
Sure. Good evening. For all those wishing to testify, please be aware that you must raise an issue with enough detail to afford the city council and parties an opportunity to respond to the issue if you later want to raise that issue on appeal. Testimony and evidence must be directed towards the approval standards staff will describe or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or development code that you believe apply to the decision. If additional documents or evidence are provided by any party, the city council may allow a continuance or leave the record open to allow the parties a reasonable opportunity to respond. Failure of the applicant to raise constitutional or other issues relating to the proposed conditions of approval with enough detail to allow the local government or its designee to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in circuit court.
Thank you. At this time, I call for a staff report from Project Planner Jennifer Sapello. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So this is a comprehensive plan map amendment, a zone map amendment, partition site plan review, CP 0422, ZC 0622, PA 0922, and SP 2322. The property is a 4.85 acre located at 2000 Queen Avenue Southeast. The applicant is Mega Investments LLC, which is represented by their applicant representative Laura LaRocque with Udell Engineering and Land Surveying. The applicant proposes to partition the subject property into 2 parcels. The applicant proposes a comprehensive plan amendment and a zone amendment for the proposed parcel 2, and a concurrent site plan review for the construction of a 42-unit apartment complex upon that parcel 2. The subject property currently has a comprehensive plan map amendment of general commercial. The only zones compatible with the designation are the neighborhood commercial, community commercial, regional commercial, and office professional zones. The applicant proposes to amend the comprehensive map designation to medium density residential, which allows for residential single dwelling unit, residential medium density, residential medium residential attached, and mixed use residential, office professional, and neighborhood commercial zoning districts. To the north, south, east, and west of the property, it is currently within the medium density residential comprehensive plan designation. The subject property is currently located within the community commercial zone district. With the amendment, it would change parcel 2 from community commercial to residential medium density attached. The subject property is also bordered by residential medium density attached zoning districts. The proposed partition would partition the 4.85 acre property into 2 parcels. Parcel 1 will consist of 3.3 acres and remain in the general commercial comprehensive map designation and the community commercial zone designation. Parcel 2 will be created at 1.53 acres and be located within the residential density comprehensive plan designation and zone residential medium density attached. The applicant also proposed a site plan review for a 42-unit apartment complex upon the parcel 2. The proposed development would provide 12 studio apartments, 18 one-bedroom apartments, and 12 two-bedroom apartments. If approved, the parcel 2 will have parcel 2 will be neighboring a substation and multi-dwelling unit developments to the east, multi-dwelling unit development to the south, open space consisting of Periwinkle Creek to the west, and a multiple dwelling unit development further to the west. And then to the north would be the Mega Foods property, which would be parcel 1, would remain the commercial. This is a type 4 process. The decision criteria can be found in ADC 2.220 subsection 3, zoning map amendments ADC 2.740, partitions ADC 11180, and site plan review ADC 2.450. The criteria are addressed in the staff report, and the Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on January 23rd of 2022 and unanimously recommended to approve the proposed applications. The notice of the public hearing regarding this application was mailed to property owners within 300 feet on December 30th of 2022. The staff report with exhibits was posted to the Planning Commission and Planning Project's homepage since January 17th of 2023. The site was posted on January 13th of 2023 at 2 locations, one facing Geary Street and one facing Queen Street. The notice of public meeting was posted within the Democrat Herald on February 1st. As proposed, the submitted comprehensive plan amendment, the zone map amendment, the partition site plan review satisfies all the applicable review criteria as outlined in this report. Therefore, the staff recommends approval of the proposed land use applications. And that concludes my staff report.
Thank you very much. Do any council members have any clarifying questions regarding the staff report? Councilor Montague?
I just have a comment. I appreciate your guys' diligence in applying all of the conditions you have in there. Most specifically, the one condition you have to not discharge stormwater into Periwinkle Creek. That was my first concern when I heard about this. So I really do appreciate that you guys went through and did all of that. So thank you.
Councilor Novak, do you have anything? I cannot hear you.
They muted me, I'm sorry, and I forgot. So I just want to verify that I heard correctly. I know it's in the paperwork, but the staff report did say that the Mega Foods property remains in the commercial zone. I just want to clarify that I am understanding that correctly.
Correct, yeah, the zone amendment and the comprehensive plan map amendment only would apply to parcel 2.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I forgot to mention that Counselor Newton is excused from tonight's meeting. Okay, thank you. Did that, will any other counselor have anything? Oh, okay. We will now take testimony from the applicant. Will the applicant please state your name, address, and make any comments you may have for the council? Hello, good seeing you again. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all the whole thing.
Good evening, Council. My name is Laura LaRock. I'm the applicant's representative. I work with Udall Engineering and Land Surveying. So I'll keep my presentation brief. Jennifer did a great job giving a general overview. Today, you have 3 different applications: comprehensive plan, zone map, partition, site plan review, all being reviewed concurrently. The zone change comprehensive plan essentially just redesignate the property so it is consistent with what surrounds it to the east, west, and south, which enables it to be developed with multifamily development, which also is approved to the west and already constructed to the east and south of this site. The north parcel 1, would remain commercial, and parcel 2 is proposed to have those designations changed. Let's see, the partition is pretty straightforward, just divides 2 pieces of land into one so that the southern parcel 2, can be developed with multifamily development. Concurrent with this review is a site plan review to build a multifamily housing development. Consists of 42 units. It's oriented to the south of the site of parcel 2. So it's in closer proximity to the already existing multifamily developments to the south and east of the site. This general layout was selected because if you noticed in the map, there is an existing sewer main that runs diagonal through the property, so there wasn't a lot of flexibility in the placement of the building. Overall, it's a pretty straightforward application. Staff did a great job with conditions of approval. Most of those are pretty standard. There's just 2 I'd like to discuss in more detail today. Condition 1, bullet point 2, requires the applicant to have an easement dedicated along the frontage of parcel 1 on Geary Street. I've created a map so we can have a visual while you talk through this. May I give that to the city clerk?
Yes,
Pass out?
please. Thank you.
So the condition of approval just says that a 10-foot easement would be required. The purpose of that easement points to a transportation system plan for an intersection improvement in that area. I wasn't quite sure how far north that easement was supposed to be, but I just brought it all the way around the corner. So the map that you're looking at, and for those that do not have that in front of you, it just shows a hashed area along Geary Street for a width of 10 feet. And really the purpose of the map is to show that there is an existing sign in that location in the easement. So I just like to put it in the record that if any improvements were to occur and by the dedication of that easement, that the sign would not be required to be relocated at the expense of the property owner. The other condition of approval is one that's requiring a buffer along the north portion of parcel 2, so to the north of the proposed parking lot of the site. The Albany Development Code has a couple different standards that apply. When we're talking about a buffer, it's a width that's dedicated by the code of 10 feet, and within that 10 feet, it's required to be landscaped with trees that are offset by 30 feet, some shrubs and some grass or bark chips in that same area. Typically, the purpose of the buffer is to create some separation between different uses. On this particular one, if you look at the development code, there's a matrix that's used. Typically, when the parking lot abuts another parking lot, there is no buffer required between those 2 uses. There's also no buffer required when you separate a multi-family development from a parking lot. In this case, I think the staff took the most restrictive kind of interpretation of the code and are requiring a buffer. And the purpose that was explained during the Planning Commission meeting is to create a little bit of space and vegetation between the existing mega food site and the proposed building site itself. Unfortunately, I have some concerns, and this does the client, that maintenance of trees along that parking lot area that would overhang an access way in a parking lot would just be a long-term maintenance issues. Trees don't often survive, or if they do survive, they don't survive very long and have to be replaced throughout time. Also would take a lot of trimming and maintenance to make sure that those aren't creating a hazard to the access way to the north and to the parking lot to the south. And then overall, just the purpose of the landscaping, usually those trees only have to be about 10 foot tall. So if you're thinking about aesthetics in that particular area, I don't think that creates much with a 3-story apartment building to the south and like a 12-foot story building to the north with the mega food site. So the trees would be quite a bit closer to the ground, and it wouldn't really block any views of a commercial building on the upper levels of the proposed apartment building. So I think that kind of just explains those 2 conditions were the only ones that I had concerns, and I just wanted City Council to have considerations to not require the buffer area along those north property line. Oh, I should mention the buffer is also required along the east. With the east side of the property, it abuts another apartment building, it has a grassy area, has an access way, and so in that case, I don't see where the uses conflict and where a buffer would be required along that east property line as well. So tonight, I just want to seek clarifications that there would be no negative impacts about future replacement or moving of a sign within the required easement area, and also for City Council to consider removing the requirement to have a buffer along the north and east property lines of Parcel 2. With that, I'll conclude my presentation and open up for any questions that you might have.
Okay, so we will now take public testimony. So question for you, Allison or Sean, do we now take questions from council, or do we wait on that?
So if you have any clarifying questions from the applicant's representative, you can go ahead and ask those now.
Council, thank you, Sean. Any clarifying questions from council?
Yes, but this is not, the clarifying question has nothing to do with what you just brought up. A lot has been in the news lately about electric vehicles and charging stations. Are there any plans for those in this type of a development and at an enhanced level because of the incoming demand for them?
This particular development, no. I have seen it in other proposals, but just not this particular one.
So there'll be no charging stations of any kind?
It has not been discussed yet, but this is just the planning phase. So when they actually put construction plans in, that's where those conversations would come into play.
Okay, thank
I
you.
will note that state legislative requires cities to amend their codes, and those are some provisions that might start to be applied by state regulation in the future.
Thank you.
Counselor? Counselor Novak, you're up.
Thank you. Forgive me if I missed something, but you were talking about trees in the parking lot, and are you saying that one of the conditions for this proposal is the removal of trees that are currently in existence that are, I think you said 12 feet high, and those trees would be removed?
No, the conditions, it's that the site plan has to be modified. Right now, they're showing a kind of a variable width, but it averages about 6 feet along the north portion of the proposed parking lot. There's no trees in that area at this moment.
Thank you.
Yeah, imposing that condition would require that parking lot and the entire site to be adjusted further to the south to allow for a 10-foot width to the north of the parking stalls, and in that area to be improved with landscaping that includes trees and shrubs and grass covering.
I appreciate you clarifying because I just didn't want to see any existing trees removed.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other counselor have anything? So for me, I don't see any trees there now, so this requirement would require you to put trees in.
It would, yes.
Okay, so which will eventually be taken out because the sidewalk or whatever that's put there. Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and move on. We will now be taking public testimony. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
We're now taking public testimonies first from those in favor of the applications, followed by those in opposition or with concerns, and finally from anyone who's neutral. If anyone wishes to enter an exhibit into the record as part of their testimony, please briefly describe the exhibit and email it to the address provided above, or in the packet. Well, there was some public testimony. There was no public testimony for the hearing. Does anyone in the council chambers wish to testify? Nobody said anything. Those who registered to speak during the meeting will now be called upon. Since no one did speak, I'll go ahead and move on the agenda. We will now be taking public testimony from anyone who did not register to speak beforehand. If you would like to speak, please raise your hand. And if you're attending in person or if you're attending virtually, please raise your hand, turn on your camera and raise your hand to be called upon. Or if you are attending by phone, please unmute yourself and state your name so you can be called upon. I saw someone pop on the screen. Oh, this is okay. Thank you. I see none. Does any member of the audience wish to speak in favor of the application? Is this for business from the public or is it? Okay. Are you speaking on this particular public hearing, Miss, or is it for the next business from the public?
Are you talking to Karen?
I'm talking to you, Karen, yes.
Oh, I'm not speaking on this issue.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the audience wish to speak in favor of the application? I didn't see anyone input earlier. Does any member of the audience wish to speak in opposition or express concerns about the application? Does any member of the audience wish to speak neutrally of the application? Does the applicant have any rebuttal testimony? Excellent. Does anyone have a procedural questions that they would like to raise at this time? If so, please raise your hand if you're attending in person. If you're attending virtually, please turn on your camera and raise your hand to be called upon. Or if you are attending by phone, please unmute yourself and state your name to be called upon. Okay, excellent. Does the council wish to discuss the case? Oh, no, excuse me, I skipped something. Oh, we did ask that one. Does the council wish to discuss the case and ask questions of staff? And I believe Councilor Smith had a question.
Yes, I wanted some clarification from staff about the requirement for the buffer.
Hi, David Martineau, current planning manager. The buffer, we felt, was justified and it's defensible in the development code. Really, the concern we would have is the commercial use of the property to the north, and there's existing parking lots in those areas. And we figure that the parking lot that's in commercial use, with cars coming in with headlights and whatnot, that a 10-foot buffer is reasonable to help reduce the impact of that traffic and that parking on the multifamily residential units.
The proposal for the apartments is to share the driveway for the commercial property with the apartments. That's their access point, correct?
It is.
And their only access point.
Well, the access comes from the west side of the property as opposed to the north. I think that they can make room for the 10-foot buffer.
Right. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other councilor have a question regarding this matter? Thank you. Okay, I declare this public hearing closed at 6:33 p.m. Does the city council wish to discuss this case now that we're back in session? Councilor Novak, you have anything? Excellent.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. There is an ordinance in your packet for consideration in your council packet. Got that one. Would the city attorney please read the ordinance in title only?
An ordinance amending ordinance number 4836, which adopted the City of Albany Comprehensive Plan map, and amending ordinance number 4441, which adopted the City of Albany zoning map by amending the Albany Comprehensive Plan and zoning map and adopting findings for the property located at Lynn County Assessor's Map number 11S-03W-08CD, tax lot 211.
Would the councilor like to make a motion to read the ordinance for the second time in title only?
I move it's read a second time in title only.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Is unanimous. Would the counselor like to make the motion to, what, to read it in second time?
Yep, I'll go ahead and read it. An ordinance amending ordinance number 4836, which adopted the City of Albany Comprehensive Plan map, and amending ordinance number 4441, which adopted the City of Albany zoning map by amending the Albany Comprehensive Plan and zoning map and adopting findings for the property located at Lynn County Assessor's Map number 11S-03W-08CD, tax lot 211.
Would the counselor like to make a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Okay, here we go. I move the city council adopt an ordinance. What?
You'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance, right?
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
making a
thank you.
motion. Don't I have to read this?
Yes.
It's my first time, just bear with me. I move the city council adopt the ordinance that would approve the comprehensive plan map amendment with the concurrent rezone to RMA under planning files CP 0422 and ZC 06-22, as described in the January 13th, 2023 staff report. This motion is based on the findings and conclusions of the staff report, testimony presented at the hearing, and the findings in support of the application made by the city council during deliberations on this matter. Can I combine these?
No, just reach the one, right?
First one? Can I say
Um,
and?
Clarification, just the first one? Allison, just the first one or all three?
No, just the first one, if that's what you, if that's what you
That's what I
want.
meant, yeah.
That's your motion, okay.
Will the council, is there a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Would the clerk call for a roll call vote, please?
Go ahead and do the partition.
Counselor Kopsinski.
Yes.
Counselor Montague.
Yes.
Counselor Smith.
Yes.
Counselor McGee.
Yes.
Counselor Novak.
Yes.
It's part of it. We need to do it.
5-0.
5-0, because Counselor Newton's on vacation. It says call for a vote again. Would the council like to make a motion?
So, and this would, we could have, I apologize because I was just talking to the city manager, we could have done an and on that. So you were, first time and you're absolutely right. So you teach us now. So we need if you would make the motion now for the and part of that for the partition.
All right, I got this. All right.
Would the council like to make a motion?
I move the city council approve the partition and site plan review applications under planning files PA 0922 and SP 23-22 as conditioned in the January 13th, 2023 staff report. This motion is based on the findings and conclusion in the staff report, testimony presented at this hearing, and the findings in support of the application made by the city council during deliberations on this matter.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion passes 5-0. The decision of the city council may be appealed at the Land Use Board of Appeals by filing a notice of intent to appeal no later than 21 days after the decision becomes final. Within 5 working days following the adoption of the amendment or a new land use regulation, the director shall forward to the Department of the Land Conservation and Development a copy of the adopted amendments and findings and notify the department of any substantial changes which may have occurred in the proposal since the previous notification to the department. Thank you. We're going back now to the regular agenda. Next is business from the public. We have 2 people that have signed up to talk. One is, we had information sent in from Karen Josephson. We're going to give you 3 minutes, Karen, Mrs. Josephson. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Can we start the clock, please? Introduce yourself, and then we'll start the timer.
Okay, my name is Karen Josephson, and I'm here to talk about the cutting of the 80 trees for the Albany waterfront plan. Now, do I keep going?
Yes, please.
Okay, the plan for Albany's waterfront appeared in our paper several days ago. And that plan, and I looked at it up on your website, that's great for 30 years ago when the climate crisis seemed distant. Summers were free from fire and flood worries, and citizens weren't searching for shade every time they turn around. But we are in a very different world now, and our heated world requires planners to use sort of a lens of climate change for all the decisions they make. So they're planning on cutting down big trees, and then they're going to plant some other smaller new trees. How are they going to grow to maturity and offer coolness, habitat, carbon sequestration, and all of that with the scorching heat we have in the summertime now? Because they can't guarantee those trees aren't going to die because it's getting hotter every single summer. And so they are guessing and gambling with our park on that as to whether there's even going to be trees in that long walkway. Because a new tree's leaves can die between 90 and 100 degrees. Many Oregon trees are already dying from drought and heat. There's an aerial survey that reveals massive fir tree die-off in Oregon all across the state. So with those mature trees dying, I don't know how we're going to cut down mature trees and expect the new ones to grow. So then another thing that went through my mind is I would like a planner to assure citizens that the specialist who claims that those trees are diseased or dying has no financial interest in the outcome, in cutting them. So for 30 years, we've ignored our worsening carbon emissions. So we have guaranteed ourselves that temperatures will rise. That's the only direction they can go because we're still pumping carbon into the atmosphere. So we must keep our mature trees. New plantings and concrete can never match them. So I care about Albany's mature trees. Yes, I'm from Corvallis. I've lived all along the Willamette River. I've lived Eugene and Portland. So I care about trees everywhere. And their services to our society are huge. The oxygen, coolness, habitat, and much more, even water tables. So I urge the City Council to rethink this plan and to justify the cutting of every single tree and start looking at everything through the lens of the climate crisis. And I've worked on climate for 22 years. And it did take me just recently before I started thinking about everything through the climate lens.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next on the business from the public is Carol Davies from COAT.
Hi, and thank you for allowing me to speak. For the two new council members, COAT is Community Outreach Assistance Team. We are a street outreach program in Albany. It came to my attention that I was well overdue for a report, so this is what I'm doing today. Last year, we served over 400 unduplicated people. That means 400 people without seeing them twice. That's a lot of people. So far this year, we're up to 178 unduplicated people. So we're going to far surpass that this year. We have been super busy. We have 2 outreach workers. I also wanted to let you know about a life-saving effort that was done, and I think that it highlights how important and critical our work is. While on outreach about a week and a half ago, one of our workers, along with some volunteers, came across somebody who was overdosing. We carry Narcan with us, so we were able to have somebody administer the Narcan to the person, and that person was able to be saved. When I say that we perform life-saving work, we really do. The other thing I wanted to highlight as far as life-saving work goes is to date, we have been in existence for about 14 months now. and we have successfully placed 14 high-risk individuals into permanent housing. These people, without a doubt, would have passed away if they didn't get into permanent housing. As a matter of fact, one of them, the day that I helped him move into assisted living, he suffered a medical event. I had to call an ambulance for him. He was rushed to the hospital, and the doctor told me that if he had been alone and he had not had housing, he would have died that night. This is not an unusual story. I'm currently working with somebody else that is very ill, and we have him in a motel program right now. And when I say we do intensive case management, it is just everything that you can possibly think of. This person had to, oh, sorry. I guess I'll save that story for next time.
Thank you. How much do you have left?
Maybe about a minute.
Go for it.
Okay, thank
My
you.
time.
Okay, thanks. So this person, a typical case that I take on, a person is unable to get the help and advocate for themselves. So I have to call in a referral. I have to really follow up constantly on that referral too, because Senior and Disability Services gets tons of referrals. Then once the person is accepted into the program, I have to make sure that all of the paperwork is in order. I have to make sure that the person has a Social Security award letter. All of the paperwork that you can think of has to be in order. Then I start calling dozens and dozens of assisted living facilities to see if there's an open bed. Once I find an open bed, more paperwork, tons of it. And then finally, hopefully, we are able to place that person. But that's still not the end. Most of these people are homeless. They don't have any furniture. I have to arrange to get all of the furniture and furnishings, linens and kitchen supplies and everything that somebody will need. And then, because a lot of these people are chronically homeless, I have to follow them to make sure that they are transitioning safely and appropriately into a new environment. So there's a lot of work involved to it.
Thank you very much. I do have a favor to ask of you. I'm going to add you to my networking group because every day I get notices of what Medicaid beds are available in the state of Oregon. So we need to get together and talk about that. So
That would be wonderful.
We'll meet at Margin Coffee and do that. So I'm serious. So the group that I'm a part of is called Better Together, and we started as a Facebook space and everything. But I'm the guy they call for anything related to the kind of insurances I deal with. But every day I get a list of what Medicaid beds are available in the state of Oregon. So I'll show it to you. I'll get you involved in that.
I could really use that. Thank you very
You're
much.
most welcome. Hey, one coming today, a Medicaid bill for a male. Yes. Thank you very much. And next on our business from the public is a gentleman, Clay Reinhardt. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what are we talking about this evening?
Government.
Can you be more specific? Okay. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Okay.
So as soon as you have a seat and introduce yourself, we'll get started.
You'll see that my notes are fairly brief, and if I might get a few more seconds, if you do, I might need it. If the people that were here that saved lives, I would commend them, but they're gone. The officers that received awards, and I want to thank the service people that are
Sir,
here.
Sir, this is not for them, it's for us. Please have a seat and start your
And
conversation.
this is for you guys because it concerns you, so I'm sure you'll be interested. So that thing I gave you is really for your review later. I think my talk here will summarize this really good. I'm a family physician in Sisters, but I have a son and a daughter-in-law and 2 grandkids that live here in Albany. And my 3-year-old granddaughter was exposed to talk and certain people that led her to accuse me, her grandfather, of molesting her, taking pornographic photography, and sex trafficking. So within 2 days, that was reported to DHS, And that same day, they reported it to the Albany Police. It was assigned, or the investigation was delegated by DHS, who did not do one, to the Albany Police. And that case, my case was assigned to a detective there. So you'll see the definition of a detective, which is a person, usually a police officer, whose occupation is to investigate and solve crimes, and somebody who looks into witnesses for statements, physical evidence, and search databases. And it says to try to establish the facts to convict in court, but really what society is looking for is truth and to seek justice. But in my case, no investigation, or I would say, I crossed out no, and a minimal investigation occurred. And at the behest of the detective, within 3 weeks, the medical board arrived at my clinic and removed me from my practice, and that stands to this day, despite being acquitted. But I was not nervous because first, I didn't do it, and secondly, I trusted that there would be an investigation. But there was a minimal investigation despite the detective being on my doorstep in Sisters, a round trip of about 3.5 hours, where my phone and my computer should have been confiscated and sent for forensic investigation. And that did not happen. And had that happened, and the DA got that information, and the grand jury had got the information that there was no corroborative evidence of these accusations made by a 3-year-old, I think the outcome at that grand jury would have probably been vastly different. But instead, I was indicted. And I waited 2 and a third years for a trial. The detective happened to attend that trial for 3.5 days, unnecessarily, where had she spent the 3.5 hours collecting that information, that would all have been unnecessary.
Counsel, I'm going to let him continue. Is that okay with you? Counsel?
I have about 1 minute left.
Okay, you can take your minute, sir.
So the statistic that I think was first sought was, and partially based on a plea bargain, which they offered me 3 years in prison instead of 7. That was the plea bargain. They were looking for a statistic. I think the statistic was far different. The statistic is that not only was there a huge personal impact to me, there was a huge local community impact. There's a huge impact on rural health in Oregon because I can't provide services. And now I wait for the wheels of another agency, the Oregon Medical Board, to move. But now society, more than any time in our lifetimes, and I think I'm probably the oldest person here, is seeking law enforcement accountability and justice and integrity. And in my case, in 2022, 2023, it did not happen. So I wanted you to be aware and to ensure that those who are charged are suitably evaluated so innocent people don't end up in prison.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does anyone in chambers like to speak to the council? You're more than welcome to do that. Okay, no one's stepped up to do that. And so next, adoption of resolution, kind of choked me up. Adoption of a resolution, special procurement of a remounted ambulance from used fire equipment. Mr. Rooney's going to be doing a presentation. How do we just, Fireman Rooney or no?
Sorry,
What's your title?
Deputy Chief.
Deputy Chief Rooney, thank you.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I'm here to request approval to purchase a refurbished ambulance from our apparatus maintenance provider, Hughes Fire Equipment. We're in need of increasing our fleet of ambulances from 6 to 7 in order to handle our increased demand of service in our community. At present time, if we were to purchase a brand-new ambulance, it would take approximately 2 years to receive that ambulance, given our current supply chain issues. And the cost would be approximately $300,000. We have an opportunity to purchase a refurbished ambulance that closely matches our fleet design for approximately $50,000 less than a new ambulance, and it'll be completed in 3 to 4 months. A refurbished ambulance is a used ambulance box that's been removed from the old chassis and placed on a brand new chassis. During the refurbishment process, new flooring, upholstery, and lighting are installed, just to name a few things. When it's all done, you really wouldn't know that it was a used ambulance. It looks brand new. The addition of this medic unit will be extremely important to our operations in order to maintain an adequate number of ambulances that are ready to respond for our community. Thank you for your time and consideration. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Council, any questions for Deputy Chief? I have one.
Yeah.
The rig that the box is going onto, has that been refurbished as well?
No, it's brand new 2023.
Okay, so it's a new
chassis.
rig.
Yes.
The box has been refurbished.
Just the box gets redone and then put on a brand new chassis.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. Council, any questions? Councilor Novak, any questions?
No, sir.
So do we have a motion?
I would move to approve the special procurement of the remounted ambulance box on the new chassis. as
Second.
requested.
Second.
What motion in the second? Thank you, Councilor Novak. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Thank you very much, Deputy Chief.
Thank you very much.
Next, number item 8 on your agenda is award of a bid, award of contract for S Sierra Tango -22-01 Queen Avenue Rehabilitation. It's inside the city limits on Pacific Boulevard. Director Chris, this is somebody different.
Oh, yeah. Different Chris.
Okay, all right. Caught me off guard. You changed your hair.
Yeah.
And so please present.
All right. Good evening. Staff is recommending that council award this contract in the amount of $6,232,162 to the low bidder, K&E Excavating Incorporated of Salem, Oregon. There are 2 bids submitted for the project. The low bid of $6,232,162 and a second bid that was just under $9.5 million. The engineer's estimate was $6.3 million. The project includes approximately 5,600 feet of asphalt pavement rehabilitation on Queen Avenue from the west city limits to Pacific Boulevard, as well as 2 blocks on Elm Street between 16th and 18th Avenues. The work, in addition to the road work, includes storm drains, improvements, new curb ramps, and sidewalk repairs. In conjunction with the street work, the project also includes construction of 3,500 feet of new water line.
No water what?
New water line.
Water line, okay.
Water mains between Liberty Street and Ferry Street.
Okay, thank you.
And if there's any questions, I can answer those.
Councilors, any questions?
Just one comment. That's such an incredibly wide spread on the 2 bids. Somebody knows something that we don't. The city estimate was almost spot on to what the low bid came in, but the other one was almost 50% higher.
Yeah, so the project, because the project is in front of West Albany High School and Memorial Middle School, there is a schedule restraint that a big chunk of the work has to take place when school is not in session during the summer. And so that requires a lot of work to happen in a short period of time. And a lot of contractors weren't able to do that. That second contractor, I'm guessing, probably had to hire a lot of subcontractors or was building in a lot of
Thank you.
slack in their bid to be able to complete that.
That makes sense. Councilor Smith?
When is the work scheduled to be done? During this out-of-school season this year?
Yeah, the bulk of the work will take place during the school summer break. Some work will take place before and after that, but the bulk of it will be in the middle during the summer.
Have those 2 blocks of Elm Street always been included in the project?
They were. There is a separate project that will be coming up on Elm Street north of Queen Avenue. Part of this project includes improvements to the storm drain system that were identified in our stormwater master plan, and that includes rerouting part of the storm drain to go north on Elm Street as opposed to south on Elm Street as it does now, to alleviate flooding and undersized pipes downstream. And so it made sense to do that, to go north for that one block, because we're going to be doing that storm drain work now.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah, and then a little bit on the south, just because there are other water line improvements that are in that intersection, and that will allow us to cover up all the mess that we make as part of those other utility improvements there.
Thank you.
Counselor Novak, do you have anything?
No.
Counselor McGee?
Yeah, I have a question. How long do you expect this to last, the project itself?
The construction?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should be done by the, I don't remember the exact completion date is off the top of my head, but all the work should be done by the end of fall. There may be some cleanup stuff. The bulk of the work will take place during the summer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Counsel, you have a motion?
I move we award the contract in the amount of $6,232,162 to low bidder K&E Excavating, Inc. of Salem, Oregon.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Thank you, Counselor McGee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you, Chris Sarkowski.
Sarkluski.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
I have good practice. All right. Next, adoption of the consent calendar. Counsel?
I move that we adopt the consent calendar.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you. Next on the agenda, item 10, staff report. Is that right? Yep, staff report. Salary rate adjustments and FTE increase for ambulance billing specialist classification. Fire Chief Shane Wooten. Page 173 of your packet.
All right. Again, good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. As was mentioned earlier, we're having to make changes in our ambulance service by adding capacity to it. And this is one of those changes. So currently we have 1.6 FTE that do our ambulance billing. So they're responsible for sending out our ambulance bills, responsible for keeping up with billing practices, insurance law, managing our fire med program, working with patients to develop payment plans if they're unable to pay their ambulance bill. They do medical charting, quality assurance, and countless other duties. And just over my time, well, as assistant chief and chief, these positions have become so highly specialized. It amazes me the knowledge that they have. So we're requesting, or we had the employee who was the 0.6 FTE, she subsequently retired, and we are looking to raise that position from 0.6 FTE to a full-time position. And along those lines, while we were evaluating that, HR looked at the class and comp of that position and recommended that they also receive a salary adjustment based off of their responsibilities. But before we get to that, I also wanted to let you know that we evaluated the idea of actually contracting out our ambulance billing and hiring a private company to do that. What we found through that evaluation was that actually it would be more money and more expensive for us to utilize that third service, and we'd also be giving up all sorts of control that we have right now. Sometimes people call if they can't afford to pay their ambulance bill. We accept very nominal payments just to keep the count going, and we're able to, through you, have the ability to work with people. So as far as paying for the position, we've had a substantial increase in ambulance revenue, but I don't think that we're going to have to utilize those funds to be able to pay for this increase. Rather, we'll do it within our current budget and work it into our next budget. So with that, any questions?
So was that the retirement I attended?
That was the retirement I attended.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Thank you. Council, any questions for the fire chief?
How much more expensive was it to contract out? Was it like
About $30,000 more.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was substantial.
Sure, thank you.
Yep.
Any other council?
Question.
Go ahead, Councilor Novak.
Thank you. Yeah. Chief Wooden, you said that it's not going to cost any additional money initially, but how about after this particular budget cycle? How much additional will it be costing?
Yeah, so it's probably right around $40,000 for the entire, or actually, wait a second, 1 second here. It's probably more like $60,000 total cost difference from going 0.6 FTE to a full-time FTE. We already have a lot of costs with the 0.6 that we're not going to have to pay additional funds for. And so then going into the next biennium, our next budget process will include it in our budget process. And if for some reason that we don't have the funding for that, we also have those ground emergency medical transport dollars that we have coming in. That is also another funding source that we're able to use for this position. And really, it's kind of a natural nexus because that funding comes through unpaid ambulance revenue, if you will. And so it is a natural nexus that it would help support an ambulance biller.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This may be tangential to what you're talking about, but is there down the road, do you perceive getting back together with like Tangent when we had the joint deals with EMTs, and is that even part of this conversation at all?
Yes, so kind of looking into our crystal ball, we currently are working through the city's budget process, and we've received our revenue estimates and are working through that, and we'll be making presentations to you here in the next few months. But we do intend, it's our goal to leverage those ground emergency medical transport dollars to add an additional ambulance to our response, so adding capacity. We intend on doing that without dual role employees, so dual role being firefighter and EMTs, but rather they'll be specialized and they're just specifically paramedic EMTs. They're not firefighters. There's a cost savings for us to do that. Generally, the market, the pay is a little less than dual role, so we've have some cost efficiencies there. So yes, we do plan on bringing that program back, but doing it solo. When we partnered with other agencies, it got really complicated really fast, and there were supervisory issues. And we think we can make a more efficient go at it doing it solo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions, council? Do I have a motion?
I move that we authorize the increase to full-time equivalent for one vacant ambulance billing specialist position from one part-time 0.65 FTE to full-time 1 FTE, along with a salary grade adjustment from A114 to A123, effective March 1st, 2023.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thanks. Next up on the
Thank you.
docket is, thank you, Chief, Fire Chief. Next up on the agenda, item 11, is our business from the council. I believe I started with Councilor Novak last time. I'll start with Councilor Kopczynski this time.
Nothing on the agenda tonight.
Councilor McGee?
Yes, someone's really concerned about their water bill. Got like several emails about it.
So, Peter?
What was the question?
She had someone concerned about her water bill. Should he report it to you?
Yes, that'd be fine. If you have it, you can always have, if somebody approaches you and they have technical questions or complaints, just forward them to me and I'll distribute them or answer them.
Okay, thank you. Is that it? Councilor Montague?
Actually, on that note, I did have somebody also ask me about the increase, and I found some really good information on our website on the Public Works page, we have, actually, you can see the ordinance when that increase was passed and what was in there. So I directed my constituent that way and had some really good information in there. So if anybody ever has questions about their water bill, it's a really good resource.
Thanks.
I do not have anything else.
Thank you. Counselor Novak.
Yes, sir. I have a couple of items this evening, and there would even be one more, but I brought home the wrong notebook, so I don't know what the third one was. But two items that I could remember. There's, with regard to, I don't know if you all are, well, I'm sure you're aware, we have these, I don't know what you call them. They're like planters where the trees are along the side of the street, like in front of my building, okay, in front of the restaurant, all along Second Avenue, probably First Avenue too. They're kind of pretty to look at. There's squares of like concrete squares, but they're uneven. They're not flat.
Yes.
And they're hazardous. We had a couple of weeks ago a 93-year-old gentleman leave the restaurant pushing his wheelchair-bound wife, and the car was parked alongside one of these planters, and I don't know if the wheels got caught or he tripped or what, but he went down like a rock on his knees. And I was outside saying goodbye to them, and I'd come outside and I saw, or I didn't see him hit the ground, but I heard him yell, and I went running over to them, and that became a huge issue to me at that moment. I don't know how we can do or what we can do, but these are, pretty is nice, but hazardous is not okay. Watching a 93-year-old man land on his knees and his poor wife in the wheelchair, we were all a little bit freaked out. I'm grateful that we didn't have to call an ambulance. As far as I know, I haven't heard anything from them. They happen to be people that I know that had come to celebrate his 93rd birthday. But it just has me supremely concerned about these things. I've tripped on them myself. And fortunately, I didn't fall, but I really think we need to do something. I strongly want to encourage Public Works or whomever that we replace these uneven, pretty little lumpy squares of concrete that they're nothing but hazardous. I mean, they're pretty, but oh my goodness, I don't want to see anybody else go down. I don't want to see someone crack a kneecap or whatever. So I really wanted to bring that to the attention of all of the powers that be, that we need to change this up. Okay. I'm also really concerned about the same sort of decorative planter thing where if you're not paying attention, and people with their phones, they're not necessarily, you can step and you fall in a foot, the other kind of planters that we have. That tree is there, but there's a drop of like a foot. I'm not describing this very well. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think
we have
I do.
them. Yeah.
The stormwater things, yeah. I do.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Super dangerous, really hazardous, not okay. I think that these are, we're doing all this work with ADA, and I appreciate that we are, but there are some incredible hazards. And while, it's like you're fixing one thing, but there's an unintended consequence that is nothing short of extremely dangerous. So I wanted to bring these things to your attention and say that I think the council needs to do something. The city needs to address this. And so that was my first item. The second is a constituent from whom we have all heard, a very nice gentleman by the name of Jeff Haysacker. I hope I didn't butcher his name, but I'm speaking on his behalf. He sent a letter to us on January 17th expressing his concern that the people who live in our town retain the right to choose their own type of heating and cooling and cooking methodology in their homes, specific to natural gas, but just whatever. Because in certain cities, apparently, they're being told you can't use natural gas. You have to get rid of, your stove that you love or whatever. And Peter has said that the people of Albany have the right to make that decision.
And I've said
we can
the same
do whatever.
thing.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. But Mr. Haysacker, and I agree with him, would like us to get it in writing in the AMC so that it can't be on some somebody's whim, someone with an agenda, and we do have agendas in this country that, everyone has a right to their concern, but I want us to retain the right to heat our homes as we choose, cook as we choose with whatever type of, whether it's natural gas or electric or whatever. We should have the right to make those decisions ourselves and not have Salem or the World Economic Forum or whomever threaten that choice. So, and he would really like us to get it in writing. So I want to let it be known to the council that I would like to do whatever we need to do to get that into the Albany Municipal Code so that we retain that right and that nothing can
Thank you,
take that
Counselor.
from us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Counselor Smith.
I have nothing this evening.
Counselor, okay, Jeff's not here today. So all I have is it's Black History Month, and so I've been speaking at different schools and meeting with wonderful parents and kids. And I can't tell you the number of kids that have reached out to me and said, we want to know what your experience has been. And it's been interesting. I know, Counselor McGee, I saw you speak, and I was quite impressed. I was shocked. I was like, wow. Not shocked that you did it. It's just that the impact that you made on all those different types of young people, it was amazing. So I was speechless. And then I went to Senator Merkley's town hall, and it was just it's been a great month. And with that, if you ever get a chance to listen to Counselor McGee speak, take it, please. And then other than that, this week's been busy. And if you're going to the LOC conference, the enrollment period has opened. So I recommend the councilors, if they can go to the LOC conference, please do, at least attend one or two of the days. And other than that, I think I'm done. Oh, now she has something. Go ahead.
I just want to remind everybody, since my hands are cold, it reminded me, we have our tour of the city parks on Saturday from 12:30 to 2:30. Meet at the Riverview Community Center. Dress for the weather, whether we're in the trolley or not. And I hope we're not, because it's cold.
Thank you.
The trolley
It gets
is fun.
cold in that trolley, though,
It's
trust
cold
me.
in the trolley. 2 hours in the trolley, that would be cold.
So Councilor McGee and I will be doing an event, so we'll be taking care of that at the Pixie. Yeah. With a bunch of kids, that'd be awesome. And so I'll turn it over now to the city manager for his report.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, and Councilor Smith stole one of my points, but that's no worries. I just wanted to point out to you, in case you find out through other means, that tonight Seth Sherry is testifying with the state legislature on semiconductors and how we can extend the program to keep or to provide industrial site readiness to manufacturers and help them obtain funding through the Federal CHIPS Act. And then tomorrow, Sophie, the other half of our economic development team, will testify on enterprise zones. And I think you all are aware of what enterprise zones do in terms of providing short-term property tax abatement in exchange for job growth. And that completes my report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, City Manager. Next meeting dates are Monday, March the 6th at 2023 at 4 p.m. here in Chambers at work session. And then Monday, March the 8th, we have a joint planning session with the Planning Set Commission starting at 5:30, so we have to be brief in the first meeting. And then Wednesday, March the 8th at 6 p.m. here in Chambers for a city council meeting. And I will now adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for attending this evening.
And I will be gone both those two meetings.
No, you can't. You can't. No.
Tell my wife that she can forego the 80th birthday.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.